Hello, everyone, and welcome to my interview today with Ulrike Dietmann, who I met recently. And Ulrike's got a fascinating connection with animals and works with them in unique ways. So I'm delighted to have her as my guest today and find out a lot more because I want to learn a lot more. So, Ulrike, you've had a very strong affinity with horses for a long time. So, I'm just wondering if you could share how you got started working with horses and how this connection has developed over time.
I grew up with the horses of my granddad. He put me into the saddle when I was 5 years old, and I've loved horses ever since. Later, I ran into a very difficult horse that got dangerous, and all my methods did not work. I had to find another solution, and I found this American teacher, Linda Kohanov, and she shows you that animals have a spiritual consciousness. And when I could access that, all the problems that I had with this horse dissolved. And I found a deep, deep spiritual connection with horses. And that's what I do ever since.
That's amazing. And have you got horses of your own now, or you
No,
work with other people's horses?
I work with other people's horses. I travel from farm to farm and work with different horses in different countries, different races, different kinds of horses. Yeah, because that gives me a much bigger variety of experience.
Okay. And so, since you've started that from the age of 5, how have animals in general changed your life?
Think animals have taught me a deep connection to nature. And only much later, I realized that the biggest desire in my life was to be authentic. And I had problems with humans or in the human, but because I come from a small town in a very remote area of Germany. And when I got into the big city, I lived in Berlin for 10 years. I always had problems with humans and I never knew why. And only until later I found out that it is about the authentic, that I need the authentic. What I get from animals is they're so authentic. And that's what I need. And I can connect with authentic people. And if they're not authentic, then it's kind of difficult for me, like it is for every animal with people that are not authentic.
That's really interesting. Yes, I feel that they're very pure souls,
Yeah.
and I love being in their energy, like going to zoos and just spending time being in their energy. I think that's very rejuvenating. So I really resonate with your connection to nature as well as the animals. So I've read that you work with people doing something called a hero's journey program. So I'm just wondering if you could explain a bit more about what that program is and how it helps people transform.
Hmm. I like two things about the hero's journey. The hero's journey is something that humans practice since thousands of years. It's in every story, in every Bible story, in every Greek myth, everywhere you find the hero's journey in every movie. And you can also use it for personal development or spiritual development. And why I use it is, yeah, two reasons. And one is it puts you in the center. It is the journey of one person. It's a unique journey. It's nothing general. It's not a method. It's a journey of experience. And the second thing is the hero's journey guides you into the shadow, into the fear, into the darkness before it takes you out into the light. And not many methods of personal development do that. Most are focused on the light, on the positive. And the hero's journey tells you you have to go into the biggest fear, into the deepest shadow to find new power, new inspiration. And yeah, that's what I love. It always ends with a happy end.
It sounds very similar to a spiritual awakening. And I know some people describe it like the dark night of the soul, that they have to, face the shadows and perhaps some aspects of ourselves that we don't really want to deal with, that we just keep suppressing, things that we don't want to face, but they're there underneath. And we do have to eventually deal with them at some stage because they do affect us. So, yeah, I resonate with that as well. Now, the thing I really am looking forward to finding out is about your work with spirit animals, because I know that we have these energetic beings around us who can help guide us and support us. But I know a lot of people aren't aware what their animal actually is and how it can help them. So I'm just wondering if you can just talk a bit about how it changes a human's life once we know who our spirit animal is, and
Mhm.
how do we embrace their unique energy and wisdom.
My work with spirit animals came about because I connected people with horse spirit and horse consciousness. So
Hmm.
my audience was horse people, but not everybody can have a horse. And what I found in the connection with the horse spirit was so profound and deeply changing people's lives that I thought I need to provide access for everyone, even for people that live in big cities. And I've always looked into the shamanic work, and shamanic healers, they work with that since thousands of years. So it's something very common for people that are connected to nature. And I was seeking for a way where you can connect with animal spirit in a very easy way. I can meet with you on Zoom. I can take you there. It takes an hour and I connect you with your spirit animal. And you can experience this deep connection with an animal spirit that shows up for you personally, to show you what is your next transformation, how you can solve your problem, how you can heal. They provide profound healing. And once people connect with that, and almost anybody can, it gives them the whole new perspective on their life that comes from nature consciousness.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I've done a shamanic journey to meet my spirit animal, and I have a bear. And I
Okay.
think that was very interesting because bears eat, natural products. And I understand there's a connection with bear medicine, like with the fruits and plant essences and all sorts of things. And I'm also very interested in clinical aromatherapy with using the natural plant oil. So I see a parallel between those. And I've loved bears from when I was very little. So I was intrigued about that
Mm-hmm.
match up with the bear. But it can be any animal that people have as a spirit animal. It's
It
not
can be any animal. It
in.
can be even a dragon or a Pegasus, or yeah. It will,
Okay.
the right animal will show up for you. And most of the times it's surprising.
Yep.
Not what you.
And I understand then we have this spirit animal that's kind of our guiding animal for our whole life journey, but we also have other spirit animals that may come in and out of our life journey to help support us as well. So, do you see other animals with people, or are you working just with their primary spirit animal, or both?
I don't work, um, I work with what comes in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because animals always connect in the moment, in the now.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with thousands of people with their spirit animals, and there's many different. After a while, if you work after a while, you have a whole team of spirit animals that will support you, because
Mm-hmm.
in you you have prey energy, like a prey animal, like a lion or a dog, and you have also the spirit of an animal that is being preyed upon, like a horse or a rabbit. So we all have these parts, and we can connect with different spirit animals. And in specific situations of our life, like when we're being preyed upon by other people, the lion will show up to protect us. And when we've become too rough and too hard, a sweet little rabbit will show up to remind us of, becoming softer and more vulnerable. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. Now, I also understand that you get symbols or work with archetypes as well. So could you just explain how that helps with the connection with the animals and also our consciousness awareness?
When you communicate with animals, you find out that they have a universal language. I learned the language of the horses first, but then it expanded to other animals. And I had one really aha moment in a parking lot in Italy where I saw a little beetle walking. And I said to myself, I wonder if I can communicate with this beetle. And I could. And this beetle said to me, I'm a beetle and there's ants and there's elephants, but we all speak the same language. And it showed me this language. And that moment, I understood that there's a universal language for all beings here, for us humans too. We can access it. And this language is a language of symbols and archetypes and atmospheres. It's a specific language that you will discover when you work with many, many people, because they come back with the same kind of images and stories and things. And yeah, it's a language.
Mm. So I'm just intrigued with symbols because I know so many cultures going back through times have used symbols. So are these symbols that we recognize as humans, or is this just a unique language of symbols that you now understand?
These symbols, they are ingrained in our consciousness. Our consciousness can recognize them through the
Hmm.
ages, through the cultures. And when a symbol shows up, like for example, from the Egyptian area, a culture that worked a lot with symbolic energy, you're being connected to that kind of symbol and its energy. The animal connects you to it, and then you can do more research about it, and you can observe how this symbol is guiding you into healing or your calling or your path.
Yeah, I've been fascinated with hieroglyphics from Egypt as well for a long time. So, yeah, and the very early inscriptions that they've found in Turkey with animals on. So it's just fascinating that animals have been such an important part of human culture for so long. And it's wonderful that there's an opportunity to connect more deeply with animals, which
Yeah.
helps us as well. So, yeah, that's really interesting. If people haven't had an animal, like if they've never had pets at all, or they have a fear of animals, how can working with you help open them up to understanding more about animals and respecting them on a deeper level?
We're all connected. People, animals, all living beings, trees, everything is connected. And you don't need to have experience with an animal. You don't have to live with an animal. It's natural. We naturally connect. We may be disconnected because most of us are disconnected from life, from soul, from spirit. That's just the condition we're in as humans. But with the animals, it's really easy to connect. It's much easier than to connect with a human, because the animals are so loving and so inviting. And once you have the experience, what happens then is you will never be able to hurt an animal again, because you sense how sensitive they are, how spiritual they are, how loving they are. Yeah. And how loving we all are. Yeah.
I totally agree with understanding the more spiritual aspects of animals. And I've been discovering that more and more with my work with them too, that, they're not just there to be a companion pet. There are much deeper reasons that animals come into our lives, and understanding why they're with us and how they're helping us totally changes the dynamics of the relationship as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just intriguing. So, for people that have never heard of animal spirits before or worked with their animal spirit, what key messages would you like the audience to know?
The key messages of the spirit animals or any animal is first to have good boundaries and self-protection. For an animal, self-protection is key. It has to survive. And self-protection has to do with awareness of your body, of the physical. So the spiritual with the animal starts in the physical. It starts with, being aware in your everyday life. It's not something out there in the fantasy. They actually bring you back into your body, into your life. That's the one thing. And the other thing, once you get there, they will show you unconditional love, how it feels, and how you can find it with them. And when you find it with them, you can find it with humans too.
Hmm. I know that's a very important part of our soul journey, being
Mhm,
here as a human, a soul in a human body, that we need to go through these layers of evolving our hearts, and how
mhm,
important it is to have that exposure with animals so they do help us experience unconditional love. And I think for a lot of people who are on their own, having an animal is the only way that they get to experience that unconditional love. So it's very powerful. And I think just discovering more about animals and their impact on us really
mhm.
changes us.
Yeah,
There's a beautiful quote I've heard, that until one has uh, loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened.
mhm, mhm.
And I just really resonate with that as well, that it just, changes things. And, you look at the world from an animal's eyes. And, I've been to a session about animals somewhere where we had to get down on the ground and go around on our hands and knees and look at the world from an animal's perspective. And it was such an interesting thing to do, because we must look like great big giants to them moving around. But we
Mhm.
can get down on their eye level and really connect with them. And I think that's such a profound experience, to have that soul to soul
Yeah,
connection, which is very consistent with the work that you're doing as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're here on the planet with us for a reason.
Mm. And it's just finding out what that is. Uh, and I know different animals have different wisdom that they can share with us. They're holders of lots of wisdom that we know nothing about yet. And
Yeah.
some of them are here to teach us and to share that information. So I think, yes, listening to you, I need to go back and do a lot more connecting with my bear and getting more wisdom and guidance. So it's fascinating that we have that ability to access that wisdom to help us.
Yeah, yeah. Because it comes from beyond the human. It's a different consciousness. It's one we can understand, but it's different. Yeah.
Mm. And so, if people listening would like to connect with you and work with you, how can they do that? And what are the services that you offer?
Mhm. I have a website with my name,
Hmm.
ulrikedietmann.com. And on my website, you will find a quiz where you can find your spirit animal. If you answer a couple of questions, you will send me an email and I will send you the spirit, your spirit animal, and what it is all about. And you can get a free consultation with me on your spirit animal where I connect you with the animal and you can make this experience. That's what I offer for free on my website, ulrikedietmann.com.
I'll share that in the chat notes with the video as well. And I know you do run programs, but they're the ones that you're running in where you visit all the different farms and work with the animals. Do you also train people working with horses?
Yeah, I train people. I do apprenticeships since many years. I've trained a lot of trainers too. But all of that is in German-speaking countries. My work
Mm-hmm.
is German-speaking, and I'm starting to put it into English now. I'm taking it
Yep.
global now. But with the English and the global, I'm just starting.
Yeah, that's very exciting. We'll be able to share that information and yep, spread your valuable work around the world. So no, that's fascinating. Thank you for answering all those questions. But is there anything else that you'd like to say to our listeners about
I think
working with the animals?
in the end, what I want to say is it's it's all here on earth, it's all about our soul's path. If we follow our soul's path, we will find peace, we will find love, we will find healing. And the soul's path will always win. It will always be there in the end. So don't resist it. Don't resist it. And animals can help you to find it because it's not always easy to find. But animals will guide you there. They will guide you on this path. Yeah,
No, that's
that's
beautiful.
my
Thank you so much for being my guest today, Ulrike, and I will share information about how people can connect with you in the notes when we load the interview. So thank you for your time and for changing the world for humans and for animals.
Thank you, Annie, for connecting. It's so lovely because we have such a similar spirit and calling.
Thank you.